So in our previous video, we have seen some basic concept from Python, like how to create a first Python program. And then we have seen how to work with the different data types and variables, right? So today we are going to see a few more concepts from Python programming. And yesterday we have seen one concept called about variables, right? How to declare the variable, how many ways we can declare the variables. So today I'm going to show you one more topic, like how to delete the variables. Suppose we have created some variables and how we can delete them. So let me show you a simple example. Actually, yesterday concept we have missed it. So for today, I'm just creating a new directory. Every day I will create a new directory. So let's say day 2. So I'm just creating a new Python file. Okay, so I'll say deleting variables.py. So for example, let me just create one variable like this, a equal to let's say 100 and b equal to 200. So now I created two variables, a and b. So when you try to print the value of a, so here you will get 100. Similarly, when you try to print the value of b, so you will get 200, right? So when you just run this code, so we'll get 100 and 200, perfectly fine. Now, after that, what I will do is I just want to delete this variable. So whatever variable I already have, I just want to delete that. So for that, we can use one keyword called del. Okay, so del a. So after deleting a variable, again, I'm just trying to print the value of a, and also I will print the value of b. So now let us see the output, what you will get. So now we can just look at this error. The first time a is 100, b is 200. So both the values are printed. Now here we have deleted a. After deletion of a, again I'm trying to print the value of a. So because a is not available now, so it is giving an error. So what is an error? Name error. So whenever you see this kind of error, you have to remember that variable is not defined. The variable is not defined in here, which we will throw name error. So the variable is already deleted here. So again, I'm trying to print the value of a. So it is giving the name error. And after that, it is not printing the b value again. So after that, b value is not printed because this statement is given error. So the next statement is not executed. So this is how we can delete the variables. So simple a keyword which is available. So by using this keyword, we can delete the variables whichever already available. And so if you want to change the values of the variable, still we can change them. Okay, so this is a simple example. Yesterday we missed it. Now, so let me just start one more concept called operators. So every programming language is having operators. Now, even Python language is also having the operators. Now, what are the different type of operators provided by Python? So Python is providing various types of operators like arithmetic operators, logical operator, relational operator, bitwise operator, shorthand operator. There are so many types of operators are available. And those operators are mostly used to perform the kind of calculations. But especially on the day-to-day basis, mostly we will use arithmetic operations, relational operations, and a logical operator. So these are the mainly three operators we are going to use in our automation or practice. So let us discuss a few number of operators which we are going to use on day-to-day basis. So what is basically operator means that we need to understand first. So what is an operator? So for example, I'll say a equal to 100 and b equal to 200. So I just say a plus b. Okay, so when I say a plus b, I'm just printing a plus b here. So what plus is doing here? Plus is doing the addition of two numbers. So it is doing the certain operation here. What is that operation? Addition. Addition is an operation. So plus is an operator. So operator means which is a symbol which will perform certain operation. So operator means a symbol which will perform an operation between two or more variables, which is called as an operator. So there are many number of operators are there. So mainly we will discuss three kinds of operators like arithmetic operators, relational operators, and then arithmetic operators. And the second is the relational operators. And the third category is logical operators. So these are the main three kinds of operators we are going to discuss now. So basically, what are the arithmetic operators? So arithmetic operators, we have plus, minus, star, slash, modulo, division. All these things are comes under arithmetic operators. So by using those operators, we can perform the mathematical operations. And relational operators. So if you want to compare some values, right? So then we can go with the relational operator. So logical operator. Suppose if you want to compare a Boolean values, then we go for the logical operators. Now I'll show you practically how we can work with this operators. Let's create a new Python file. I'll name it as operators.p1. So first let us start with the arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. So let me just take two variables. I'll say a equal to 5 and b equal to 2. So two variables I have defined. A equal to 5, b equal to 2. Now I want to perform a plus b, and then I want to store this output in another variable. Let's create one variable called add. So here add is a variable. Add is another variable. So a plus b a plus operator will perform the addition of a plus b and print the output or store the output in a variable called add. Okay, in a variable called add. Or if you don't want to store that, we can directly print this value like this, print a plus b. So this will perform addition of two numbers, addition of a comma b. And similarly, when I say a minus b, so which will perform the subtraction, and print a star b. So star representing always multiplication. Whenever you see star, that's representing the multiplication. Star representing the multiplications. So everybody will know this, plus, minus, and star. But here, if I just look at it, print a star b I'm writing. This is one operator. And say a double slash b I'm writing. That's one more operator. Print a percentile b. This is another operator. Now we need to understand what is the differences between these three operators. So single slash, double slash, and percentile. So these two basically called as a division operators, and this is called as a modulo division operator. But again, we need to understand the difference between these two operators. What this is output it will give you, and what is an output this will give you. So a slash b means what is the value of a? 5. 5 divided by 2. So that means it will make two parts. That means 2.5. So the output of this statement is 2.5, which will return 2.5. Okay, and this is a decimal number which will return. And what this will return? So this will return a quotient value. Suppose when you divide 5 with 2, 2 2s are 4 and remainder is 1. So here 2 is a quotient. So this will return 2, which is actually quotient value. Returns 2, which is called as a quotient value. But what about this modulo operator? So this will return the remainder. So 2 2s are 4, remainder is 1. So 1 it will return, which is basically called as a remainder. So these are the three different operators which we have. So these are the two comes under the division operators, and this is a modulo division operator. Now let us try to execute. So totally how many operators we have here? Plus, minus, star, single slash, double slash, and modulo division. And there is one more operator also there. Print a double star b. What double star will do is exponential. Like say, suppose when I say a value is a 5, right? So I'll say 5 star 2 means 5 square, 5 to the power of 2. So 5 to the power of 2, that means 5 square equal to 5 5s are 25. So the output is 25. So this is a calculation, exponent value which will be written. So these are all comes under arithmetic operators. Subtraction, addition, subtraction, multiplication. These two are the division operators, and modulo division and exponent operator. Let's try to execute the code, run as operators. So the same values, whatever we have expected, the same values we got it. 10, 2.5, 2, 1, and 25. Okay, so these are all arithmetic operators. So anytime if you want to perform any arithmetic operations, we can use these operators. Now the second category is relational operators. Relational, these are the very important operators. Most of the times we use these operators along with the conditional statements later. So what are the relational operators we have in Python? So in the relational operators, we have greater than, we have less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. These are the relational operators. Less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. So these are all called relational operators. So let us see how to use the relational operators. So again, I'm taking the two variables. And if you want to have this code, you can have it, or if you want to comment, you can just select all of them, control /, which is commented. Now I'm discussing about relational operators. So again, I'm taking two variables. Let's say a equal to 5 and say b equal to 10. Right. So now when I say, and one more important point here is Boolean relational operators always returns a Boolean value. Sorry, relational operators always returns a Boolean value. That means either true or false. Okay, Boolean value means either true or false. So relational operators always returns a Boolean value which is true or false. Now let us take two variables, a equal to 5, b equal to 10. Now I say print of a greater than b. So what is an output of this statement? Say a greater than b. So the relational operators also called as a comparison operators. Comparison operators. Relational or comparison operators. Anything is fine. So basically what relational operators will do is it will compare the values. It will compare the values. So what are the values it will compare? Whatever the values we provided, those values will be compared. So a greater than b means a is a 5, b is a 10. So a 5 greater than 10, is it true or not? It is not true, right? 5 is not greater than b. So this statement will return false as an output. And similarly, when I say print a less than b, less than operator, and this will return true because 5 less than 10, 5 less than 10, which is true. Suppose when I say print a equal to b, equal to is also there, equal to not equal to, a equal to b. So what this will return? This will return false because a and b are not equal. A is 5, b is a 10. So this will also return false, Boolean value. And suppose when I say print not equal to b, this is a not equal to operator. So a not equal to b, is it true or not? Yes, a is not equal to b, a value is different, b value is different. So this will returns true. And similarly, we also have a less than or equal to and also greater than or equal to. Now let us see what is an outcome of these two statements. So print a less than b, a less than or equal to b. So which includes the two conditions actually. So first it will check a is less than b or not. A is less than b, yes, a is less than b. So then it will not consider equal to. Suppose if the a is not less than b, then it will check the equal to. That means a equal to b or not, it will check. Either it should be a should be either less than b or it should be equal to b. One of the conditions should be satisfied, then only it will return true. So in this case, yes, a less than or equal to b. A less than or equal to b means a is a 5, which is actually less than b. So the first condition itself is matched. So this will return true. And when I say a greater than or equal to b, so a is not greater than b and also a not equal to b. Both are not satisfied. So this will return false. This will return false. So the relational operators or comparison operators always returns a Boolean value, which is a true or false. And basically which is called as a comparison operators. Right, so let's execute. So now we got the same output, false, true, then false, true, false. Exactly the same output we got. So this is how we can just work with the relational operator. So later on, we are going to use this operator very frequently because most of the times when you work with the conditional statement, looping statements, we use relational operators. And along with them, we also have something called logical operators. Now the logical operators. What are the logical operators we have? So we have only 3 logical operators. One is and here we don't have a symbol, just we have to use a keyword and or not. Okay, so in other programming languages, we use symbol called AND operator, OR operator, and NOT operator. But here these comes under bitwise operator. So these symbols will be considered as a bitwise operator. There's a different category. So when I say logical operators in Python, AND or NOT. So these are the keyword we have to use, not a symbols. Okay, and the logical operators works between Boolean values. Always logical operators we have to use along with the Boolean values. So let us see what is AND or NOT. So to understand this logical operator, so let me just take a small Excel. So even logical operators also always returns a Boolean value. Just like a relational operators, logical operators also always returns a Boolean value. Now let me just take a simple example. What are the logical operators? I'll take 2 variables. Let us say, let me increase the size. Okay, so here A, B. So here I'll say A and B. So here is A and B, A or B, and here I'll say not operator. I'll say not A. Now we'll see what these values will be returned. So when I say A equal to true, because AND or not, so these operators work between Boolean variables, right? So let's take A value equal to true, and B value is also true, and A value is a true, B value is a false. A value is false, B value is a true. A value is false and B value is false. So I'm just taken 4 different combinations of data here. So 4 combinations of data. Now just look at this AND operator. So when this AND operator will return true, AND means what? A and B both should be true. Then only the AND operator will return true. That means what? Only in this case it will return true. In all other cases it will return false. In all other cases which will return false, only one case which will return true. That's the AND operator. So both values should be true, then only it will return true. In rest of all the cases it will return false. And what is an OR operator here? So OR means A or B. One of them should be true. At least one should be true, then it will return true. And suppose when I see this combination, true is there. So this will return true. And in this also there is one variable which is having true. So it will return true. Now in the third category, so again B value is a true and this will also return true. Only in the last case, we don't find true here. So A is false and also B is false. So in those cases only this will return false. That is a behavior of OR operator. And at least one should be true, either A or B, then it will return true, and rest of the cases it will just return false. And not is a negation operator. Let's say A is a true, then obviously not A becomes a false. And A is a false, obviously not A becomes a true. So negation operator. So these are all logical operators. So when you work with the logical operators, we need to at least have 2 Boolean variables. We need to have at least 2 Boolean variables. Now let us see practically how it is going to work. Go back. Now here I'm taking 2 Boolean variables. I can say A equal to true and I'll say B equal to false. Okay, so you should not keep lowercase character. So this is not valid. So the first character should be true. Then only it will consider as a Boolean. So A is equal to true, B equal to false. So now I have taken 2 Boolean variables. Now let us see the print value. Print A and B. And print A or B. Print not A. Now, what is an output of the first statement? A and B. I'm using AND operator here. So when I use AND operator, this will return true only if both the values are true. But here both the values are not true. So this will return false. Now the second one, A or B. So one of them should be true, at least one should be true, then it will return true. So among A and B, A is already true here. So this will return true. And not A means A is already true. So not A means a negation. So this will return false. This will return false. Let's try to execute. So here false, true, true, false, true, true. Sorry, false, true, false. Right. So this is how we can just use logical operators, and logical operators works between two different Boolean variables. Two different Boolean variables. Remember this. Okay, so these are a few operators which we have in Python, so which we are going to use regularly. So the next topic is, let us see few more some random topics which are also most important to understand the upcoming concepts. So before that, guys, are you clear about these operators? Everyone, please confirm in the chat window. Very simple: arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators. Every programming language is having these kind of operators. Right. So now let me discuss one more simple topic. Concatenation. This is another most important topic. Let's understand what is exactly meant by concatenation. So directly, I'm just going to program. Let's create a new Python file. I'll name it as concatenation.py. So what is basically concatenation means? Concatenation means joining. It can be variables or values, or it can be strings and whatever it is. Concatenation means it's a joining. So here in Python, we use a plus also as a concatenation operator. So normally what is a plus means? Plus is an addition operator. When I use plus operator between the numbers, which will perform the addition of two numbers. But when we can also use plus operator as a concatenation operator. Now I'll show you a few examples. Here I'll say concatenation. Plus is an operator. Now observe this carefully. So I'll say print 10 plus 10. So what is the output of the statement? 10 plus 10. I say 10 plus 10. Please respond in the chat window. I say print 10 plus 10. What's an output of the statement? Obviously both are integers, right? So 10 plus 10, 20, this will return perfectly fine. This is also valid statement. Now I'll write like this: print 10.5 plus 12.0. First of all, let me know, is it valid or not? 10.5 plus 12.0, is it valid or not? It is perfectly fine and is valid statement also. So what is an output of this statement? We say 22.5 something you will get. So this is also valid statement. Let us run and see, which will give you 22.5, perfectly fine. So here, I just write one more statement: print 10 plus 10.5. Is it valid or not? Is it valid or not? This is also valid because both are numbers. 10 is a number, 10.5 is also a number. So when I execute this, you will get 20.5 as an output. This is also perfectly fine and this is also valid. Now if I just look at here, I have used plus operator between two numbers. Even though that is a decimal number, because still it is a number only, right? So here 10 is a normal integer value, 10.5 is a decimal number, which is a float. But altogether, everything is a number type only. So we can use plus operator. When I use plus operator between the number type of data, which will perform the addition of two numbers, or addition operation it will perform. Whenever I use plus operator between the number type of data, which will perform addition of numbers, addition operation, basically it will perform. Now observe this. I write one statement called print. Here I'm writing one string called welcome, and plus I'll write one more string called Python. Okay, now observe this. So now I'm using plus operator between two strings. Welcome is one string, Python is another string. Is it correct or not? So this is also correct statement. But this time it will perform the concatenation operator. It is acting as a concatenation operator because when I use plus operator between the numbers, it will perform the addition of those numbers. But when I use plus operator between the two strings, basically it will concatenate those strings. So what is an output of this statement now? When I execute, so this is the output of the statement we will get. This is also perfectly fine. So here it is performing the concatenation. Concatenation means it basically join the two strings. Now observe this. I'll say one more example. I say print true plus 5. Now observe this carefully. True plus 5. Is it valid or not? True plus 5 is valid or not? True is what is the type of this true? Boolean type. True is a Boolean type. 5 is a number type. True is a Boolean type. 5 is a number type. Can we use plus operator between the Boolean type and number type? So in Python, always whenever you use true, right? So that will be considered as a 1. Remember this, guys. Whenever you use a Boolean type true, that is exactly equal to 1. When I use a Boolean value false, that is exactly equal to 0. Remember this. So whenever I say true, that is exactly equal to 1. False means which is exactly equal to 0. Remember this. Python will automatically assign these numbers. Now if I just look at here, true plus 5. Now what is the value of the true? Always 1. So 1 plus 5, it will return 6 as an output. Perfectly fine, and is also valid statement. So whenever you say true means Python will consider the true as a 1. So 1 is a number. So 1 plus 5, 6, which is valid statement. Now execute and see. So which is giving 6 as an output. Similarly, let me just try to use false also. So instead of true, I'm using false. So false is a Boolean value. 5 is a number. Even though it is a Boolean value, the value of the false is 0. So 0 plus 5, this will return 5. This is also valid statement. This is also valid statement. So far, whatever we have seen here, all are valid statements. But what about this one? Print true plus true. Is it valid or not? True plus true. So what is the output of true plus true? So false means 0. Whenever you use a false, Python will give you 0. Okay. So true means 1. Remember this. This is a default value of true and false. Okay. So whenever you use a true, 1. False means 0. So in this case, true is a 1. So 1 plus 5, 6 is an output. In the second statement, what's the value of the false? 0. So 0 plus 5, 5. This is output. Now in the third statement, true plus true. Is it correct or not? It is also correct because true is a number. So true means 1. True means 1. 1 plus 1. This will return so true. This is also valid statement. Okay. This is also valid statement. Clear, everyone? Rashmi. So the true means what? 1. Whenever you see true, that is representing 1. Whenever you see false, which is representing 0. This is thumb rule. Remember this. Okay, in the future, it will be very, very useful. So true means 1, false means 0. Simple. Okay. Now here, true means 1, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 5, 6. False means 0, 0 plus 5, 5. Here, true plus true. So true is 1, another true is 1. 1 plus 1, 2 is an output. Perfectly fine. Now observe this one. So one more statement I'm writing. Print 10 plus, I'm using string here. Is it correct or not? So 1 is a number, 10 is a number, and here this is a string. Between these two, I'm using plus operator. Between these two, I'm using plus operator. So as per Python, this is not a valid statement. Why? Because two values are different type. 10 is an integer value, welcome is a string value. So both are different data types. So that is the reason we cannot use plus operator here. So this is a not valid statement because two values are different type. Now observe this. I'm writing this one, print 10.5 plus, again I'm using one string. Is it valid or not? 10.5 plus welcome. So this is also not valid because 10.5 is also number, welcome is a string. So both are two different types. So here also this is not a valid. And when you run this, what happens? This will give you an error. So this will give you an error. So the first one, 10.welcome, not valid because two values are different type, unsupported operand types. One is integer, the other one is string. Okay, so these are two are not valid. And suppose if I write like this, one more statement, print true plus welcome. Is it correct or not? Is it correct or not? True plus welcome. So true means what? 1. True means what? 1. So 1 is again number. Welcome is a string. So both are again different types. So this is also not valid. This is also not valid. So based on this, what we have understood so far, plus operator we can use as arithmetic operator like addition of two numbers, or we can also use plus operator as a concatenation. But when I use plus operator between the numbers, it will act as an addition operator. When I use plus operator between the two strings, which will basically concatenate them. And when I use plus operator between two different types, that is an invalid statement. So we cannot concatenate two different type of data. So we can concatenate only same type of data. So we cannot concatenate with a different type of data. So in these three examples, we have noticed. So different type of data we are trying to concatenate, but it is giving an error. Okay, so just remember this concept. This is basically called as a concatenation. So two rules. When you have a two data types are exactly the same, then we will be able to concatenate. But both are different types, then we cannot concatenate. But numbers are exceptional because even though in the numbers we have int and float, two different data types, but still we are able to concatenate because both are related to numbers only. Even true or false also having number value, default value. So we will able to concatenate. But when you use numbers along with the strings, we cannot do that. It is an invalid statement. Okay, so this is a simple concept of concatenation. Right? Clear everyone? This one, how to perform the concatenation by using plus operator. Now, let me show you one more example, one more concept. Formatting the output. Small concepts, very important. Formatting output. So far, if you want to print something in the console window, right, what is the statement we are using? Only print statement we are using, or print function we are using. If you want to print something in the console window as an output, we are using print statement. But I want to print the result in the console window. I want to print the output in my desired way, like whichever format I want to print, I just want to modify that format. So for that, we have a concept in Python, which is formatting output. Now I'll show you an example how to format the output in the different ways. Close this and create another file. I name it as a formatting output.py. Formatting output.py. Listen this carefully. Most in a very interesting topic also. So let me just take three variables. One is a name. You can use to representing the strings. You can use single quotations or double quotations. Anything is fine. Okay. So I can just use double quotations also. I'm just saying John. This is one variable. Age equal to, I'll say 30. This is another variable. Salary equal to some value. I'm just taking some decimal number. So this is one more variable. So now I have how many variables I have? Three variables: name, age, and sal. And instead of writing three different statements, can we include in one single statement? Can we define the variable within single statement? Yesterday class we have discussed this. So instead of writing the three different statements, I can still write in one single statement. So how we can write it? I can say name comma age comma sal equal to the first value is a John comma 30 comma value dot 50. This is perfectly fine, right? Instead of writing 3 different lines of code, you can just define all the variables in single shot within single line. Perfectly fine. Now observe this. I want to print the values of name, age, and sal. So earlier, how we have done? So we have written 3 print statements. One is which will print name of the person, right? And another print statement is for printing the age. Another print statement is for printing the sal. So when I execute this code, which will print the values, right? But I want to print in the meaningful way, like name of the name is some name, or name of the person, age of the person is, salary of the person is. I want to write some meaningful message in the console window. Fine. So even if you write 3 statements, we can write in the single statement also, right? So like this, variables we can define within the single statement. Similarly, instead of writing 3 print statements, we can write one single print statement also. I'll say print name comma age comma sal. This is also perfectly right? Instead of writing 3 statements, I can simply write one single statement. This is also perfectly fine. It is giving the values. Now my requirement is I want to write a meaningful message. Yeah, if you want to print only name and age, you can just remove the sal. No problem. It will just print only name and age. So how many variables, whatever variables you defined here, you declare or you can specify in the print statement, only the values will be printed here. Only the values of those variables will be printed here. Okay. So name comma age comma sal also there. So I can say only sal. So this is also perfectly fine. So instead of defining 3 variables in the 3 different lines, I can write one single line. Similarly, instead of printing the values in 3 different print statements, instead of that, I can write only one single print statement. I can print the output. But now my requirement is I want to print a meaningful data. So like I want to print like this. So this is, let's say this is my approach 1. Approach 1. Okay. Now let me show you one more approach. Let's say approach 2. Right, so let me comment this statement also. Suppose I want to print the same output in a meaningful manner. Right, so for that what you can do is still I have the same values, name, age, sal. Now in the approach 2, what I will do is I will write 3 print statements, but I want to write simple message also along with the value. So for example, I say name is followed by value of the name I will print here. But how we can specify? Just say comma name. That's it. Similarly, rest of the values. I say age is age and salary is sal. So here comma is a separator, guys. So people who already know Java, so in Java we use a plus operator here. But here in Python we use comma. So first this will print this message which is included in the double quotations followed by the value of the name. So if I just look at the output here, you can see this one. So this is a more meaningful output. Instead of just printing the values of the variable, we can also add some text in front of the values. Okay, so this is a output of the statement. So if you want to print this kind of output, we can just write the statements like this. So these are the another way we can do that. Instead of just printing the values of the variables, we can also print the values of the variables along with some meaningful message. This is one approach. Now let me show you one more thing. Let us say approach 3. Okay, and all these things are just to print the output in the meaningful manner, nothing else. Okay, so now in approach 3, instead of writing multiple statements like this, right, I want to write a meaningful message, but I don't want to write multiple print statements. I just want to write only one single print statement, but I should again write a meaningful message like this, not just the values of the variables. Okay, So here, what you will do is we can say we will use a separate operator called percentage. So first thing I want to print a name, right? In the double quotation, specify the name is you can simply say percentile yes, because name is a string type. So in Python, yes is representing the string. So percentile yes, which is representing the string. Give one space, then age is, say age is colon, and what is the type of the age? Number only, right? Number. So for the numbers, we say percentile D. For number, we represent with percentage D. D is representing as a digit. Now, space, salary I want to print. So salary is colon, salary is, and salary is a decimal number. So when you want to representing a decimal number, we have to use percentage G. Remember this, percentage G. Now quotations closed. Now if I just look at this, name is just a string, and here I want to substitute the value of the name. The value of the name I want to substitute. And here I want to substitute value of the age, and here I want to substitute value of the salary. But from where the values are coming here? Percentile head, percentile S, percentage D, percentage D. From where the values are coming? So that we have to specify like this, percentile. In the bracket, we have to specify the variables. Name is a variable, age is a variable, sal is a variable. So this is how we need to represent them. So now observe this carefully. So this is one part, guys. So here you can just write a meaningful message, but the value is representing with some quote here. Percentile S is representing always a string. Percentage D is representing always a number as a digit. Percentage D is also representing a number, but is a decimal number. And from where the values are substituted here, that we have to specify in the bracket by separating comma. Again, we have to use one more percentile operator here after closing the double quotations. Now the value of the name will be displayed here. The value of the age will be displayed here. The value of the salary is displayed here. Okay, so this is another way we can do in Python. Let's try to execute and see. Yes, now exactly can see name is John. So at the place of percentile S, we can see the name. The place of percentage D, we can see the age, and percentage G is 5000.5. So whatever the values we have stored in these variables, exactly printed in this place exactly. Okay, so this is a way we can also print the output. We can format that output. This is one way within single statement. Now I'll show you one more way, and that is also a single statement, but these are different approaches. Just remember just one approach. You don't need to bother about this, no problem. So I'll say approach 4. And here we use one special symbol called curly brace. Okay, by using curly brace, how we can use. I want to print the output in the proper format. So listen this, print. I'll just write exactly the same way. So whatever I have written above, the same thing I'm writing here. Okay, but I don't use any percentage symbol here anyway. So here I will simply say curly brace. And here also I will simply say one curly brace. And here also I'll simply say one curly brace. I'm not writing anything, even percentage D or nothing, just curly brace. And here we say something called dot format. There is a function in Python called dot format. So previously we used only percentage here everywhere, but instead of that we can just use a curly brace here, here, and here. And how we will substitute the values in the curly braces, that we need to specify by using dot format method. Inside this we have to specify the variables name, age, sal. Now execute and see the output. We will get the exact output the same way. So name, age, and salary, perfectly fine. Now observe this. I'm just going to change this in different way. So how we will change this in the different way is, I can simply say that age I will keep here. Okay, so I will put age here, name here, salary here. Now see the output. What happens? So do you notice the difference between these two statements? So the first one is, first I say name, age, salary. And here also order is same, name, age and salary. So that's the reason we got the exact values in that field. But in the second statement, age, name and salary, this order is fine, age, name and salary. But in which order the variables are mentioned here? Name, age, salary. So this name is printed in the place of age. Then age is printed in the place of name. Salary is printed in the place of salary. So what we have noticed in this statement, the order is also most important. The order is also most important. So suppose if you want to print age first, okay, then what you have to do? You have to keep this age variable first in this list like this. Okay, so then it is fine, because now this age will be printed exactly in the first place, in the first bracket. The name will be printed in the second place and salary will be printed in the third place. Okay, so if you change the order here, we should also change the order of the variables inside the bracket. Okay, now you will get the exact output like this. Now you can see age is 30, name is John, salary is. You can just jumble the values in whichever order you want to print, you can just print it. But make sure the variables also should be in the same order. So this is another approach which we have to print the data or format the data. Okay, so remember this, most important. So this is all about formatting the output. So different ways we can print the data in the console window. Okay, so this is the concept of formatting outputs. We have seen by using percentile operator, by using curly brace operators. So this is by percentile operator and this is for curly brace operator. Clear, everyone? So 4 approaches I told you. First approach, second, third and fourth. So once you start practicing, you will be able to remember it. Okay, you need to practice multiple times. Great. So now here we have seen just how to represent the output in the console window, how we can format the output in the console window. But how we can take the input from the console window at the runtime, right? I want to take the input from the user. When I run my program, it should ask for input from the user. So how we can take the input? So that I will show you now. The next concept is how to take the input from the user and type conversion. The next concept, how to take the input from the user, and I'll talk about a type conversion later. So I'll discuss that. Before that, let us see how to take the input from the user. Let us create one more file, Python file, and I'll name it as taking input from user.py. Okay, now listen this carefully, most important. So how to take the input from the user? So for that, in Python we have a direct function is available called input function. So it is very, very simple and very easy. Okay, so we can take the input from the user by using input function. But here you can just write some message. What is that? Enter first number, enter first number, and then observe this, what happens when I run this code. See, now it is just displayed the same message, and here it is accepting one number. So I can provide some number through console window, but we are not doing anything with this number, so program is exited. So input is a function through which we can get the input from the console window, or we can take the input from the user. Now, whatever value we have given here, that I want to store in a variable. So here I'm creating one variable called number1. So now what happens? Whatever value we have entered at the runtime, this value will be assigned to this number1. Perfect. Similarly, I will write one more number. I'll take one more number as an input. Let's say number2. enter second number. Enter second number. Now observe this. When I run this program, first it is asking for the first number. I'm giving 100. Then it is asking for the second number. I'm giving 200. So we are not done any operation. So it is just executed the program. So 100 will be assigned to the number 1. 200 will be assigned to the number 2. Perfectly fine. Now what I will do is, what is the type it will consider? So when I pass this value here and here, what is the type? What is the type of this number 1? What is the type of this number 2? That we need to understand first. So can you guys guess what is the type of number 1? What is the type of number 2? Type means what is the data type the Python will assign to those two variables. What is the data type Python will assign to those two variables? So we will expect always int, right? But here we are providing the data through console, right? Whatever data we are passing through console window, everything will be considered as a string type. Okay, everything will be considered as a string type. So whatever number we are storing into this number 1 or whatever number we are storing into this number 2, both are considered as a string type only. Now let us see the type. And how to know the type of the variable? If you want to know the type of the variable, how we will know that? In the previous session, we have seen that. What is the function we have? Type is a function, right? So type number 1. So this will give you type of the number 1, right? So let me just print and see what will happen. Print type of number 1 and also print type of number 2. What I'm saying here is, whatever data we are passing through console window at the runtime, that will be considered as a string type of data, not an integer. Even though we are passing numbers, the Python will be considered that as a string. But how we will know that? I'm just printing the type of number 1 and number 2. Now let's see. When I run this program, so it is entering first number, I'm adding 100. Second number, I'm adding 200. Now observe this. So the type of number 1 is str, that means a string. The type of number 2 is again str, that's a string. So what we need to understand here, whatever the values we are providing at the runtime as an input, everything will be considered as a string. And tomorrow, even if you pass the decimal numbers also, that will be considered as a string. Okay, so now observe this. So if both are strings now, number 1 and number 2, both are strings. If both are strings, can we perform addition operation between those two? Can we perform addition operation? If both are numbers, number 1 and number 2, can we use plus operator between those two? If I use plus operator, what will happen? Observe this. Print, I'll say number 1 plus, I'm saying number 2. So when I execute this code, what happens? I'm saying 100 and 200. What is an output we are getting here? It is just performing the concatenation. 100 and 200. Why it is performing the concatenation? Because it is considered them as a strings, not a number. Right? They are considering them as a strings, but not a number. That's the reason we have got this value. But I want to get the actual addition value. After adding these two numbers, I want to exactly get the 300. But how we can do that? So to do this, we need to again convert these into number format. We have to convert the string format into number format, and then we can use a addition operation. So, but how we can convert them? So how we can convert them? So again, there are two ways. The first way is, okay, so I'll show you. So let's keep this one side. Okay, so let me comment this code. Now again, I'm writing. So in approach 1, so as soon as you get this value, right, that is getting as a string value, and this is also getting as a string value. So here I'm using one more function called int like this. Okay, so then what will happen? So now what happens? So this will ask for the input. So as soon as you provided input, that is in string format. Now this int function will convert that string format data into the number format. After that, it will store that value in the number 1. Similarly, the second statement also, it will take the data in the string format only. After that, this int function will convert the string data into the number data and then store that number in the number 2. Okay, now let us see what is the type of number 1, type of number 2. Then we will perform the addition. Then we will see what is an output you will get. Yes, entering the first number, second number. Now observe this carefully. So this time the type of the number 1 and number 2 is got changed. Why it is changed? Because we have converted here. As soon as you taken the value from the console window, immediately I'm converting it and then storing into number 1. And here also I'm taking the value as an input, converting it into number, then storing into this number. So this time number 1 and number 2 are the integer variables, integer type of variables. And when you use plus operator between the two integer variables, we will get the 300 as an output. This is a perfectly fine. So this is an int type now. This will print int type. So this one is clear, everyone? So directly, if I pass a value, by default, it will consider as a string type. So if you want to perform any arithmetic operations, first we need to convert that into number, and then we can perform the operations. Okay, this is one way we can do that. There is another way I will show you. Let us take this approach too. So I don't want to write the function here. I will take the data as it is in the string format. Okay, I'll take the data as it is in the string format. But at the time of adding these two numbers, I will convert. Okay, how we can convert here? Here you can write int, keep that number into the bracket, and here also keep that number into the bracket. This is one more way we can do that. So at the time of taking the input, convert and then store it into number. That is a one approach. But here what we are doing, we are storing the string values as it is in the variables. At the time of calculation, we are converting here. So number 1 first convert into integer, again number 2 also converted into integer, then we'll perform the addition operator. So execute and see the output. 100, then we got the 300, perfectly fine. Okay, so this is called as type conversion. Two concepts are included. So how to take the input from the user? What is the method we have to use? Input function, or we can say in Python we can call it as a function. Okay, input function. And how to convert the type? Int method is available. Okay, by using int method we can do the type conversion. Clear, everyone? So this is how we can take the input from the user. Even tomorrow, if you pass even decimal numbers also, that will be treated as a string. Okay, that will be treated as string. So let me show you one more example here. Comment. Suppose I have decimal numbers. So this is another example for decimal numbers. Okay, so I'm expecting two numbers again. And this is one more important example. Listen carefully. So enter first decimal number. Enter second decimal number. Okay. Now I'm trying to print number 1 plus number 2. So what is an output you will expect? Let us see. Run. And I'm entering the first decimal number. I'll say 10.5. And I'll enter second decimal number 20.5. So what is an output you got here? It is just done concatenation. Why? Because even though they are the decimal numbers we pass, still this is considered as a string only. But we need to convert them into number. We need to convert them into number. So let's try to print the type first. Number 1. Type of number 1. And copy another statement. Type of number 2. Now observe what is the type it is captured. 10.5. 20.5. So str only. Even though we pass decimal numbers, it is considered as a str. So this is str and this is also str. So it is basically concatenated. But now what we have to do, if you want to exactly get the addition of two numbers, we have to convert this. So we have to convert this. How to convert here? And previously we have used int function because we have passed normal numbers without decimal numbers. So int is fine. Int method we have used, int function we have used. But this time these are the decimal numbers. These are the decimal numbers. So what is the function method we have to use? Function we have to use float. Float of number 1. Here also float of number 2. Okay. Now as usual we got the value into the number 1 and number 2 as a string type of data, and at the time of doing calculation I have used this function. Okay, and if you want to use this float function here also directly, you can still use it, no problem. So when I run this will give you, let's say 10.5 and 20.5. So now we'll get the exact output. So this is how we can do the typecasting, which is basically called as a type conversion. So int is a function and float is another function which we have. So by default, input method will take the data in the string format. And if you want to perform any calculations, we have to convert the data into either int format or float format, and then we can do the arithmetic operations. Okay, so most important, just listen this guys. This is how we can take the input from the keyboard and type conversion. Okay, now let us move on to the next concept. Are you guys clear on this? How to take the input from the keyboard or user, how we can do the conversion? Most important topic. Okay, now let us see one more concept today. Control statements in Python. What are all control statements? So far we have seen how to work with the variables, how to work with the data types, and also operators. Along with them, we have seen how to do concatenation and how to format the output and how to take the input from the keyboard. So these are the various concepts we have covered so far. Now we are slowly entering into the actual Python programming concepts. So the main important concept is control statements in Python. So what is the meaning of control statement? So normally when you write your program, so the program will execute step by step, right? If I write some 10 lines of code like this, the program will execute line by line and all the 10 statements will be executed. But sometimes we should able to specify a condition. Based on certain condition, I want to execute specific statements. If my condition is not satisfying, then I want to execute another set of statements, right? That is one requirement. And sometimes if you want to repeat the statements multiple times, same number of statements I want to execute multiple times, right? That is another requirement. So in these cases, in these areas, we will try to use control statements. Again, in the control statements, we have 3 types of control statements. There are 3 types of control statements. The first one is conditional statements. This is the first category, conditional statements, the first one, in which we have a 3 conditional statement. Only if else, elif. Okay, if else, elif. These are the 3 conditional statements. And the second category is looping statements. The looping statements, we have only 2 loops. One is a while loop, the other one is a for loop. We can call them as a looping statements. And the third category of control statement is a jumping statements. Jumping statements, we have 2 commands. One is break and continue. Break and continue. So all 3 we can comes and these are all 3 comes under control statements in Python. All 3 comes under control statements in Python. Conditional statements, looping statements, and jumping statements. So I will discuss the looping statements and jumping statement in the next session. So now let us focus on conditional statements. What is conditional statement? Where exactly we use it? And I will show you some examples of conditional statements. Okay. Now let us go to the PyCharm and let us create a new Python file. I will name it as conditional statements. Conditional statements dot py. So here I said three kinds of control statements, right? So what are them? Conditional statements, looping statements, and jumping statements. So now I'm just talking about only three statements: if, else, elif. These three comes under the conditional statements. So these three comes under the conditional statements. Now let us see one by one how to use if, else, and elif with some examples. So let me just give you one simple example. Example 1. So I want to print a person is eligible for vote or not. So my example is I want to print a person is eligible for vote or not. Print a person is eligible for vote or not. So what is that requirement here is? The requirement is if the person is eligible to vote means the age should be greater than or equal to 18. The age should be greater than or equal to 18, then the person is eligible for vote, or else not. That's my problem statement. So how we can write this in the program? So if I just pass some value like this, the program should say the person is eligible for vote or not. So in this case, we have to use conditional statement because based on the condition only we have to decide the output, right? So how to do that? So we need to know the syntax here. So let me just take a variable called age, and I'll take a value, some variable value, age equal to 15. Now how we can check if the age value is greater than or equal to 18, then only I will print eligible for vote, or else I will print not eligible for vote, right? So age equal to 15. This is a variable and I have sent some value in it. Now I need to put one condition. So how to include the condition? By using if keyword. If age greater than or equal to 18. If the age greater than or equal to 18, this is syntax, guys. This is a condition. So what this will return? Age greater than or equal to what this will return? Either true or false. Why? Because we use the relational operator here. Greater than or equal to is a relational operator. So age greater than or equal to 18. This will return either true or false. And colon. So colon. This is a syntax. In Python, we have to use a colon. After completion of the condition, we have to end with the colon, not a semicolon. It's a single colon. Press enter. And inside, if this condition is true, then what we have to do? We have to print eligible for vote. Eligible for vote. This is a if condition. If this condition is true, then this statement will execute. Now observe one more important thing. So in Python programming, indentation is very, very important. So what is an indentation? If you write this print statement here, this will not be considered as print statement is a part of this condition. Now print statement is not comes under this condition. So whenever use if condition, we have to just give one tab space. One tab space is required. This is called as an indentation. In PyCharm, this is automatic process. You no need to bother about indentation. As soon as you press enter, the cursor is waiting there itself after giving one tab space. Okay, no problem in the PyCharm. This will automatically take care of indentation. But in Python, indentation is very, very important. Now, if you write the statement here, this has a meaning. What is that meaning? This statement comes under this one. And if you write the statement like this, it is a completely different again. So this statement is not part of this condition. So only the indentation will differ. So now keep here. So if the condition is true, this statement will execute. Now execute this. What is an output you will get? You will not get anything. No output. Why? Because the condition is not matched. The condition is returning false. So this statement will execute only if the condition is true. Otherwise, no. But I want to write, if the condition is false, I want to write not eligible for vote. For that, I can write one more block here called else, colon, and again indentation. Here, print not eligible for vote. This is how we need to print. So only if we used, and now if else, combination of if else. If else condition. So when the if condition is true, this statement will execute. If the condition is false, then else statement will execute. And sometimes you may have multiple statements also in the block. You can also write multiple statements like this. And now based on the indentation, it will decide. Now you can just see this indentation is there for every statement. So Python will consider all these statements will be executed only if this condition is true. And else block will be executed only if this condition is false. Now if I just run this code, now you can see these are the output messages printed from these statements because the condition is not true. Suppose when I say 20 here, now what happens, the condition becomes true. Age greater than or equal to 18 is true. So if block statements will be executed. So if a block statement is executed. So you can have a one single statement or you can have a multiple statements also sometimes if there is any need. And indentation is most important. You can see if I put else part here, this is incorrect. So wherever if we started in the same indentation, else also we should start. And what are statements you need to keep inside the else block? You have to give one indentation space and then you have to put this statement. Same here also. Okay, remember this. So this is a way we can use if else. If the condition is true, then if a statement will execute. If the condition is false, then else statement will execute. So let me execute now. This time I'll say 10 and execute. So this will give not eligible for road. Perfectly fine. Now when I say 20, execute. So eligible for road. Perfectly fine. So this is how we can write if else condition. And people who already know Java, so don't compare this with the Java syntaxes. Okay, the Java syntaxes are completely different. In Python, syntaxes is completely different. Okay, so here the colon must be there. If I don't put the colon, this will give you an error. Okay, this red mark is representing an error. So colon must be there after putting the condition. Most important. Okay, now the same thing. I will show you one more example. Let us say example 2. So based on this, what we have understood, if the condition is true, if this expression is written true, this statement will execute. If this written false, then else statement will execute. Remember that. Now what I will do is in example 2, I will write code like this. If true, I just want to print something. What is that? I simply say true condition. So true condition, I just want to print something. And just directly putting the Boolean value. Else print false condition. Okay, I'll say false condition. Now observe, is this code correct or not? Even this code is also perfectly fine because instead of writing the expression, we are directly writing the Boolean value because here age greater than 18 also returns true or false. Right? Instead of writing the expression, we can also directly write the Boolean value, which is true or false. So how this code will execute now? If true, then true condition, this statement will print. Right? So else false condition will print. So let's try to execute this. We see the output. So true condition. So this is printed because here we directly specify the true. Now let's make it as a false. So if a false, then print will print. Else false condition will print. When I run this, so false condition is print. So here, instead of writing the expression, we can directly specify the Boolean value also. Okay, simple example. Now I'll tell you one more example. Example 3. Okay, so example 3. Now look at this. I say if one is representing what? I told you just before some time. 1 is representing what? True. Very good. And 0 is representing false. Okay. So instead of writing the Boolean variable, directly I can say 1. If 1, then print 1. Okay. Else print 0. Print 0. Or we can say not 1. You can pass anything, right? So not 1. So when I execute this, what happens? 1 is printed. And if I not print 1, if I pass something else, I'll say 5 something else. 5 is giving error. Why 5 is giving an error here? Because if a statement will always expect a Boolean value. If a condition is always accept or expect only Boolean value. So in above cases, this expression will return the Boolean value, and here also Boolean value. So here also it should be Boolean value. What is that Boolean value means? Either 0 or 1. 0 also accepted. So now when I see here, 0 is not accepting. Why? Because we need to put the colon here. Execute, not 1. And when I say 1 here, execute 1. What we have understood based on that? Instead of writing true or false directly, we can also specify either 0 or 1 as a condition. A simple statement. Okay. Now based on this understanding, I will show you a few more examples. Let's say example 4. And this is most important. Example 4. So I want to find a number is even or odd number. Find a number is even or odd number. So how we will know whether a number is even number or odd number? Suppose I given some number equal to 10. How we will know whether it's an even number or odd number? So if any number is divided by 2, which is producing 0 as a remainder, that is an even number. Right? So if I divide 10 by 2, 2 5s are 10, and remainder is 0. So that's an even number. Right? That's a condition. If any number divided by 2, division in the sense we have to use a modular division operator. 2, which is producing 0 as an output, that number is a even number. Now that becomes a condition now. So how we can put this? I will take a number equal to 10. So here I need to write a if condition. If, listen this carefully. If what is that condition? Number divided by 10. Number divided by 2. Number divided by 2, which is giving 0 as an output. So double equal to is also a relational operator, guys. Okay, double equal to also relational operator, which will compare two values. If they are equal, returns true. If they are not equal, returns false. So if number percentage 2 equal to 0, and what this expression will return? Either true or false, right? If any number divided by 2 which is producing 0 as a remainder, this will return true. Suppose if any number is divided by 2 which is not returning 0 other than 0, then this expression will become false, right? So if this is a true, then what we should do? We can just print. Given number is even. Given number is even. Else what? Print given number is odd. Given number is odd. Simple condition. So take a number and checking the condition. If this is true, execute this statement. If it is false, then execute else statement. Let's execute now. So I'll comment this. Yes, now you can see we have provided 10 here. So condition is matched, which is giving given number is even. Perfectly fine. Now let us give a different number, 15. Run, and which is giving number is odd number. So this is how we can just write a conditions, multiple conditions. And same thing we can do in multiple ways. I'll show you in the different ways. So here what I have done, we have put one condition. If this is true, then execute the statement. If the condition is false, execute another statement. Right? Now, what I want to do is, I just want to write a single line statement. Instead of writing if and condition and again statement, again else, print statement, multiple statements we have written. So I want to combine the whole thing into one single statement. I want to combine the whole thing into one single statement. How it is possible? So example 5. Example 5. Okay, so if else in single line, which is also called as a ternary operator. If else, so if else we can use within single line, which is called as a ternary operator. So how we can do that? We can simply say same program. I'm just going to write in single line of program. Observe this. I'm taking number equal to 10. Now I say print even number if number value percentile 2 equal to 0, else print odd number. That's it. Single statement I have written. Single statement. It is very simple to understand in English, right? So simple, print even number if number percentage to equal to 0. This is one statement. Else print odd number. It is simple English language. Print even number if number percentage to equal to 0. Else print odd number. Single statement we can write like this. And here also we use if else, but which is called as a ternary operator. This is another form of if else condition. This is another form of if else condition. So if this condition is true, then first statement will execute. If the condition is false, then else statement will execute. Now execute and see, this will give you even number, perfectly fine. When I say 15, this will give you odd number, perfectly fine. So we can also use if else condition within single line. One more important thing. Sometimes you may have multiple statements inside the if condition, here and here. You may have multiple conditions. But in that case, how we can write this ternary operator? Here just one statement, condition, else another statement. But in if condition is true, I want to execute multiple statement. Along with this print statement, I want to execute another print statement. If this condition is true. Similarly, if a condition is false, if the if condition is false, then I want to execute multiple statements under else block or else part. Then how we can specify the multiple statements in that case? So we can also specify the multiple statements. So example 6, multiple statements in the single line. Okay, so multiple statements in the single line. If else, multiple statements in the single line. Here in this example, we have seen only one statement under if condition. If the if condition is false, then one statement will be there in the else part. But now how we can specify the multiple statements? Now I'm taking one more example. This and here, take one variable a equal to, let's say 20. Right. So here observe this. I just to print hello. This is one print statement, comma, print one more statement. I say Python, two print statements. So if you want to execute multiple print statements before this if condition, include those multiple print statements in the curly brackets like this. Curly brackets we have to keep. And then keep the condition. If a greater than or equal to 10, else, and again under else also I want to execute multiple statements. So just you can specify the multiple statements here. Print, and here instead of hello I say hi Java. See this. So just compare with the previous example with this. So in this statement, in the previous statement, what we have done? So only one print statement is there if the condition is true. If the condition is false, only one print statement will execute, which is part of else condition. But here, if the condition is true, these two statements will execute. If this condition is false, then else part, there are two statements are there. So if you have more than one statement, include those statements in the curly braces. Okay, this is also a ternary operator. Now let us test this program. So I say a equal to 20. So what is an output you will get? A equal to 20. So 20 greater than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Condition is true means what? These two statements will execute. Hello, Python will execute. Let's try to execute now. See, hello and Python. Two statements are successfully executed. Now I'll make this as a 5. 5 greater than or equal to 10. Condition is false. Then under else part, what are the statements we have? Those print statements will execute. Hi Java. So this is another example. So what we have understood based on these two examples, we can simply write if else condition within the single line. That's the first thing. And if you have a one statement under if condition, you can simply write the statement here and here. If you have a multiple statements you want to execute under condition, you can keep those statements inside the curly braces. Inside the curly braces. Clear, everyone? So these two called ternary operator actually. We can call them as a ternary operators. Okay. Now, I'll show you one more example. Suppose here in all these examples, we have only one condition. This is one condition only. If the condition is true, the statement will execute. If the condition is false, other statement will execute. But sometimes we may have multiple statements. So multiple conditions. Statements are fine. We can include any number of statements like print statements. But sometimes you may have multiple conditions. Here I have only one condition, number divided by 2 equal to 0. But sometimes you may have multiple conditions. But in that case, how we can handle? So if you have a multiple conditions, then we need to go with if statement. So far we have seen if and if else. There is one more conditional statement we have. This is if. So by using this if, we will be able to handle multiple conditions. Now let me show you one last example. Let us comment these two. Example 7. Multiple conditions using if. It is not a else if, okay? It is if, that's it. SE is not there, just if. Now let me show you one example. Suppose I will provide one week number here. Let's say week number, let's say 1 to 7, any number. I'll just pass 1. And the program should display the name of the week. The program should display the name of the week. So when I say 1, the program should display Sunday. When I say 2, program should display Monday. Similarly, rest of the weeks. So how we can do that? Let me take one week number equal to 1. So here we have to use if condition. So if also use along with the if condition. First, let us specify one condition. If week number equal to 1. If this condition is true, what we have to print? Print Sunday. Print Sunday. So now if week number equal to not equal to 1, suppose I say 2 here, that is another condition. So what we have to do now? We have to come back if. Second time you don't use if condition now again. If one more condition, week number equal to 2. Then what we should do? Print Monday. Second condition is over. Now even week number is not equal to 2. Then again one more time, if week number equal to 3, and then print Tuesday. Similarly, we have to write multiple conditions like this. So 4, 5, 6, and 7 like this. All conditions we have to write. And observe this, indentation is most important like this. You should not keep this print statement like this. So this print is a part of this condition. Okay, so here if we have to use for multiple conditions. And suppose if week number is not matched with any of these from 1 to 7, then finally what we have to execute, what we have to tell, then we have to use else part, else condition at the end. So here I'll say invalid week number. Invalid week number. That's it. So this else should come after completion of all the conditions. But if we have only one condition, we don't need all these things. We can directly write a else part. So else print Sunday, else print some other value. But here we have multiple conditions to verify. So that's the reason we have to keep like this. So this is one condition, another condition. Similarly, we have to check week number with all the values. And finally, if week number is not matching with any of these conditions, finally else block will execute. The else section will execute invalid week number. So this is how we can specify the multiple conditions by using if. Here we don't have else if, okay? In Java we have, but here we have only if. That's it. Now let us test this program. I say week number 1, execute Sunday. Now I'll say week number equal to 5, execute Thursday. That means this condition is got matched. Now let's say week number equal to 7, execute, then Saturday, perfectly fine. So I'll say week number equal to 10, week number equal to 10, then invalid week number. That means else block is executed. Else statement is executed here. Okay, so this is how we can just specify multiple conditions by using elif. So these are all comes under conditional statements in Python. If else, elif. Okay, so if you want to solve certain number of problems, we have to use conditional statement. If you want to execute some group of statements based on the condition, then we need to go with the conditional statements. Very, very important topic. Okay, so far what we have discussed. So how to delete the variables, and we have discussed operators, and we have seen how to do concatenation, formatting output, and then we have discussed about conditional statement, which are part of control statements. And why we are calling them as a control statement? Because these commands will control the execution of your program. So that's the reason we can call them as a control statement. So today we have discussed them, and tomorrow's session we will discuss how to work with the looping statements and jumping statements. So based on today's concepts, I will give you a few assignments and you guys can try them. Okay, so let me put assignments here. So the first assignment, see all these assignments based on the conditional statements only. Okay, so check the given number is positive or negative. Given number is positive or negative. How will you know that whether a given number is positive or negative? If the number is greater than 0, which is a positive number. If the number is less than 0, that's a negative number. So use if else condition and try to do that. Next, check the largest of 2 numbers and check the largest of 3 numbers. So provide 2 numbers and find which one is the largest. Similarly, provide 3 numbers or 3 variables defined and find the largest of 3 numbers. And last one, print the week number if provide a week name as an input. So in our example, what we have seen, we provided the week number. Accordingly, we printed the week name. Just reverse this program. So provide the week name here, but print the week number. Based on the week name, print the week number. This is completely opposite of this. Okay. So this is another assignment. All 4 assignments are based on the conditional statements only. Okay, so first practice my class examples and understand the concept, and then try to do these assignments. Okay, so that's all for today's session. I'm just stopping here. We will continue in the next session.